You're listening to the Membership Geeks podcast, bringing you proven practical tips and advice from the leading experts on growing a successful membership business.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to this episode of the Membership Geeks podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison, the chief membership geek around these parts, and I hope that everything is going amazingly well in your little membership world. If this is your first time listening, I'm so glad that you've joined us. Make sure you hit that subscribe or follow button in your podcast app. If you are a regular listener, you know that I love and appreciate each and every second of your time and attention that you give me on the show, and hopefully it is well repaid with proven practical tips and advice on growing your successful membership business. All right, today we're talking all about closed door memberships. Anyone who's been around for a while will know that this is a topic on which I occasionally like to pull out my soapbox. This is mainly because of the way in which this strategy has been positioned, the way in which it's been talked about, and in some circles, the way in which it's used and it's touted as some sort of magic bullet, some super secret, fringe, hidden, unusual, this unusual strategy that we use to be successful in memberships. Things is not that unusual. It's pretty commonplace. It's been around in the online marketing space for decades and decades, but you know how it is in the online world. Very, very easy to hype things up and to sell the secrets of success. It's always easy to sell a concept if you dress it up as magic beans, right? Look at me already with my little cynical soapbox. But yeah, that's the main reason why this is a little bit of a hot topic for me, a little bit of a controversial topic, not because it's a bad strategy, not because it's a strategy that doesn't work. In fact, it's a strategy that's worked phenomenally well for some people and not so well for other people, in the same way that the always open model, which is the more commonplace, more effective generally, and it's the model that's used by the most successful memberships. But there are people who've done great with the open door model, and there's people who've done terribly with the open door model, right? There is no one size fits all. And the reason why I do get on my soapbox about closed door memberships is because the biggest champions of this strategy try and get it across as though it is the one size fits all approach, right? So that's why I harp on about it a little bit. And because of that skewed way in which this strategy is taught and is talked about, you do get people making huge mistakes when they decide that a closed door model is right for them. And these mistakes happen because the realities of what that model means and its impact on your business are glossed over in favor of really bigging up and overhyping the positives, the upsides, of which there are plenty of upsides and plenty of positives about having a closed door membership strategy if it fits your market, if it fits your business. So today I just want to talk about some of the mistakes that we see people making time and time again with a closed door membership model. The first of those is thinking that they don't need to market in between launches. Now, I'm going to set aside my little bugbear with the term launch being used for the types of promotions that closed door memberships do. Semantically, technically, you could say, it's not bad to label them as launches, but what they are essentially enrollment promotions. So typically, your closed door membership, it'll not be possible for somebody to join it on a regular day. So if you go to that membership site right now, there will not be the option to join. You probably need to go on a wait list, and the opportunity to enroll in that membership will only be available for a limited window of time, once, twice, sometimes 3 or 4 times a year. That window will open, but outside of that window, it's not possible to become a member. So for me, it's more accurate to call these enrollment promotions rather than launches, because in the common parlance of online business and products online, a launch is the release of something brand new, whereas this isn't. It's an enrollment window. Set aside the semantics. What happens is when people are so focused on the huge promotions that they do when they do open the door for an enrollment window. They're so focused on those, and quite rightly, because you can get a huge influx of members during these enrollment windows, but they think that that's the only marketing they have to do. Part of the reason they think that is because they're taught that. The common teaching around this strategy is, well, if you have this model, then you do your big launches, you do your big promotions, you get all your members there, you do all your marketing there, and then it means you can love on your members. You close the door and you just focus on your members. But the truth is, you still need to market. You need to market between your promotions because you need to keep building your audience. You need to stay on people's radar. You need to keep getting people on your email list, warming them up, educating them, getting them to a place where when you do open your enrollment window, they are primed, they are ready to join. You're not starting from a standing start. You're not starting essentially from zero when it comes to your enrollment window. When you're in that mindset of, okay, so from this date to this date, I'm purely looking at my existing members, and then I'm going to flick the switch and just get into marketing mode. There's so much friction that you're creating for yourself. There's so many obstacles you're creating from yourself. You're starting cold every time. And just having a wait list up in between your launches, that's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. There's new people coming into your market, coming into your industry, discovering you. There's new people potentially every single time, throughout the year, throughout the period during which your membership is closed. They're not just going to stick themselves on a wait list if you haven't already made some sort of connection through ongoing, fresh social media, through content marketing, through audience building, through staying relevant, staying on people's radar, keeping the awareness up. This mindset of you only really focus on marketing when it comes to your big promotions. And then in between them, that's when you get to love on your members, right? There always needs to be a balance, whether you're open or closed. There always needs to be some marketing that's taking place because otherwise your audience will get stagnant. If you're only opening for enrollment once a year, your audience will be exceptionally cold when the time comes to actually do some marketing. Even if you're opening every 6 months, 2 or 3 times a year, that's a long period of time for you to not be growing your audience, reaching out to your wider market, trying to continuously bring fresh eyeballs, fresh people into your world. And that is why a lot of people who follow this model see diminishing returns. Their big launch is so successful. Usually their first big promotion after they've launched a new membership, so essentially their second enrollment opportunities, often that'll be big as well. Sometimes that'll surpass the initial launch because by that point, they've got fantastic social proof. They've got case studies, stories they can tell. They've got results. They've got, the ability to say, this isn't just marketing hype about the membership. This is really, really getting people where they need to get to. So often that first big promotion will probably be bigger than the initial launch in the first place because you've got something real, something of substance. But because these people are not marketing between their launches or they're phoning it in, right? They maybe switch into marketing mode a month or two before their big launch. And then suddenly, okay, now we better start putting out some, YouTube shorts. Now we should start posting on our Twitter account, which we've not, or X, or Instagram, which we've not posted about since last year. And the problem with that is people aren't stupid. People recognize it, they see the patterns. Human beings are pre-programmed with pattern recognition software embedded in our craniums. We see that pattern. And particularly if your market are a more savvy market, and particularly if you brought nobody new into that audience, right? They will look and say, okay, Joe Bloggs is obviously coming up to launch season because they finally showed up on the radar again. And so you get a reputation as someone who only ever shows up, who only ever puts out new episodes of their podcast, who only ever turns up on their YouTube channel or their social channels when it's building up to time to sell something. People aren't stupid, especially in this day and age. People are so much wiser to this kind of thing. So you need to market in between your launches. You really do. Of course, it won't be as intense as the marketing you do in the build up to your promotion and the promotion itself, but you need to keep that flywheel ticking. You need to stay relevant. You need to stay ahead of the game. Otherwise, you'll go down the path of so many people who bought into the promise of the closed door model, where you'll have a great initial launch, a great follow-up, and then the next one won't be quite so good. And you're kind of a little bit miffed because this is your second, third sales opportunity, and you only do 2 or 3 a year. So all of your eggs are in these baskets for these big launch promotions. So, okay, so this was underwhelming. All right, we'll mix it up. We'll try and do something next time. And, oh, this one's a flop. Oh, no. Maybe we're in trouble. But this is the way of doing it, right? This is how you're successful, because the guy that I've just paid $3,000 to buy their course, this is what they teach and this is what they do. So, and there's so many success stories they shared, because obviously they don't share the failures. Like, this is the course. We stick to this course. And then every single launch window gets worse and worse and worse, and you wonder why your membership has died. And you eventually need to then switch models to an open door model. So yeah, I'm talking about hyping things. I'm deliberately over-dramatizing this kind of major decline. Not everyone's going to have it, but hopefully this is drilling home the point. If you've got a closed door membership, yes, of course, make all the noise in the world. Really, really go for it with your big launch promotions. But trust me, don't fall into the mistake of thinking you don't need to market in between launches. Anyone who tells you that is not very good at marketing, or they've got a huge ad budget, or they've got an army of affiliates that enable them to be lazy about their own marketing. And just do me a favor. Try and tune into this. Try and stay attuned to how people show up when they're not trying to sell something. Stay attuned to how people who have that closed model, or they're launching courses or whatever. Try and stay attuned. Look at which ones just go silent in between their promotions. Who only turns up in your inbox when they've got something to sell, when they're promoting their own thing or their friend's course that they're an affiliate for. Pay attention to this, because other people are paying attention to when you do it, if you're doing it too. So that is a huge mistake people make with a closed door model, thinking they don't have to market. And kind of connected to that is thinking that it's going to be less work, because it sounds like less work, right? The argument is, okay, well, by being able to just focus on marketing for these, 1 or 2 months during the year, then the rest of the time you just need to focus on your existing members. That is less work than juggling marketing and member retention, right? Member experience. But it's not. It's not. Because as we said, you still need to be marketing in between your promotions. But these big launch promotions are a lot. So you might be lucky and you might have a lighter workload between your launches. But man, the added strain and stress and time and hassle that will go into these big promotions, they're a lot of work, because everything is riding on it. So you still end up doing the same amount of work. You're just going absolutely crazy for 2 or 3 months of the year. And then you still have management of your membership. You still have customer service. You still need to show up in your community. You do still need to market between your launches, regardless of what you're being told. So it doesn't end up being less work. And actually, even if it is less work, quite often it doesn't feel like it. Because the all or nothing nature of these big enrollment promotions creates so much stress and strain. Not just because they take a lot of work to get all the pieces in place, but because so much rides on them. And so you might be doing less work in between launches, in between promotions, but you're probably going to see your stress levels getting higher and higher, especially if you do see that diminishing return on your enrollment promotions. The amount of people who we've seen who have switched from closed to open, who have said it's just so much healthier for them now because they're not as stressed, they're not losing sleep, they're not getting to that place where they do a big promotion, doesn't go as well as they want, and so then they're scrambling for months afterwards, second guessing, doubting themselves, having to change everything around, line up new experiments, and then wait for the next enrollment window to find out whether it works. Is the next one going to be a hit or a miss? Man, I know which one I prefer. So it may be a little bit less work, but realistically, we very, very rarely find that that's the reality. The people who experience a lighter workload for their membership day to day through having the closed door model versus open door, they are the exception and not the rule. Memberships take work. Business takes work. Yes, there's opportunities for leverage. Yes, that work is more enjoyable. Yes, you can build and grow your team to support you and all that sort of stuff, but there's still work needed, whether you're open or you're closed. So don't, again, fall in and buy into that hype of thinking, well, I just don't have as much time to run my membership, so I'm going to make sure that I close the door. If you're doing it because you want to do less work, then you would look at things like maybe limiting enrollment numbers, like putting a cap on how many people can join your membership. Now, it can certainly be more manageable or easier to balance the closed door membership with other things you're doing in your business if your membership is just one of 2 or 3 big things you do within your company. Perhaps you have a big signature course that you sell once a year, and then maybe you have a membership that is not connected to that course that needs to be promoted separately, and perhaps you do a live event. Now, having a closed door membership model when the bigger picture ecosystem of your business calls for you to switch your attention or switch the intensity of your attention from one big thing to the next big thing to the next big thing, that can definitely not necessarily lead to less work, but can certainly make it easier to plan and to structure your year around the things that you need to promote at different points. But again, we're not talking less work. Closing the doors to your membership, really, in the grand scheme of things, like it's not that significant a shift so as to halve the work that you need to do. You still need to do the work, so don't think it'll be less work. The other huge mistake, so mistake number 3, is forgetting about your existing or your past members. Even though this whole thing of, if you just do your marketing for 1 month of a year, then you get to love on your members. Quite often the loving on your members bit gets overlooked, right? People rarely consider the actual impact that this model will have on existing members. Again, glossing over the realities in order to back up the hype. People don't close the doors to their membership typically because they think it means a better member experience. Typically, people close the doors to the membership because they think they'll get more sales. More sales is more money. Money is sexy. But yeah, too often people rarely consider the impact this model has on existing members. Again, that argument, close your doors means you can love on your members, but what actually happens is your community often will start to stagnate from the lack of fresh blood coming in consistently. Churn is going to happen. Members are going to leave. Cancellations will take place every day, every week, every month, whether your doors are open or closed. But when you're closed, the members who leave aren't being replaced with fresh blood. So your community loses energy. It loses traction. It loses momentum. It crawls to a halt. And then, just as the stagnation is setting in, it'll come time to build up to the next enrollment window. So your attention as a membership owner completely switches off from those existing members and becomes all about bringing new people in. So that community dynamic, the energy among your existing member base just drops off a cliff because for that period, you're not caring about them. You're not loving on them. And even if you've been the most devoted, most attentive membership owner to every single member in your community during the periods when your doors are closed, if suddenly, bam, it's promotion time, it's time to market, what's that do to your existing members? Because you're very, very visibly deprioritizing them. Now, when you put yourself in the mindset that attracting members and retaining members aren't interlinked, they're two separate functions, that marketing stops at the front door, man, you are putting yourself as a disadvantage. Truthfully, successful membership owners know that you have to market beyond the sale. And a strong membership marketing flywheel that creates advocates and promoters from within your member base is what is really fueling member growth. Marketing doesn't just end when you get a new member. Marketing doesn't end when your enrollment window ends. Marketing and retention are symbiotic. It's a holistic process. Your retention strategy starts with attracting the right kind of members in the right kind of way. It's not something you just turn your attention to once you're done with your marketing. It's a holistic process. But if you're set up to have that thinking, that mindset, if you are setting out thinking that you can only serve existing members or attract new ones, you can only focus on one of those at a time. And if you're having to switch between those modes, then the wheels come off. Too many people forget about their past members, their existing member base. And quite often, because you become so myopically focused, like just completely tunnel visioned around your big enrollment windows, because they are what make or break your membership. Because you get to that place, you can actually just start misusing that relationship with your existing member base, seeing them only as marketing assets. People who will give you case studies, people who will, write testimonials, who will come on your podcast to sing the praises of your membership. And you will often get people who will do that despite the fact that you're neglecting them. It's like, that child who doesn't get enough attention when given an opportunity to come and win favor with that parent who's not really loving on them as much. Like, they'll come out all guns blazing and they'll want to be that perfect person, that perfect student. Yes, I'll write the testimonial. Yes, I'll say how amazing you are, when truthfully, they're thinking you kind of suck. But they're hoping that, if I come out and I send people your way to join the membership, maybe you'll see me, maybe you'll give me the attention I need. That will help me to achieve what I've joined the membership to achieve. So yeah, forgetting about your existing member experience, misusing the relationship with your existing members, thinking that you switch lanes, either attracting new members or retaining existing ones, doing marketing or loving on your members. It's the wrong type of mindset to be in for long-term membership success. And again, some of the kind of the signature examples of the closed door model that were the most prominent when they started getting talked about a little bit more, some of those, the reality is their communities were graveyards. Their communities were just dead. Even while they were being touted as these, paragons of the closed door membership model, if you actually joined and you went into their forums, nobody was welcoming new members. No one was posting questions. No one was connecting, holding each other accountable, supporting each other. Just wasn't happening. The community just died on the vine. And you could go back through activity in that community and you would see when the launch promotions took place, because you'd have a whole raft of new member introductions and nobody saying hello. Nobody saying welcome to the community, because that existing member base were getting neglected in favor of that drive to bring in new ones through these big promotions. So that is definitely a huge mistake people can make with the closed door model, overlooking or taking for granted their existing member base. Another huge mistake people can make is trying to have the best of both worlds. So by that, I mean putting yourself out there as having a membership where the doors are closed, where you can only join during this exclusive enrollment window once or twice a year. But actually, in the in-between time, you're letting anybody in. You're just doing it quietly. You're doing it secretly. You have a back door into your membership. Now, that is a strategy that has been taught by different people. Publicly close the doors, but still have a way of people coming into your membership if they want to, because every sale's a sale, every dollar's a dollar, right? But if you do that and you get caught, it's not good. Any marketing that you do where you're relying on not getting caught out, not getting called out, is not the right approach. Going back on your word, showing a lack of integrity in your marketing is not the way you should be doing things. And you might think it's harmless. And I suppose by and large, it is if you're not really cared about the ethical side of things. But the thing is, so often when people are promoting a closed door membership, they are really heavily anchoring their marketing on the scarcity. Scarcity is an effective but a dangerous tool to use in marketing because scarcity causes bad decisions. Scarcity creates pressure. Scarcity tries to bypass the regular organic buying decision-making process. It tries to force people to a purchasing decision that otherwise they would not have made. And it leads to buyer's remorse. It leads to people doing silly things like taking out credit or putting something on an installment plan, stretching themselves financially. And you do see some people selling these expensive $3,000 courses kind of making the right noises about, well, you shouldn't put yourself into debt. But they don't care. They don't care. They just want you to sign up. So when you are employing something like scarcity, you have to do so delicately. You have to do so morally. You have to do so ethically. And there is genuine scarcity in closing the doors to your membership. When it's a limited window, it's genuine scarcity. You're not inventing it. You're not faking it. But if you then let anyone who happens to be on your email list, let them join at any time, you have that evergreen back door into your membership. If every single month you're doing a little promotion to people who are on your email list that you're not making a song and dance about publicly, you're only sending this opportunity to join after the fact to your email list, then that integrity gets degraded. You're going back on your word because you've put all this pressure out there. You've created this pressure environment based on this scarcity that you are then undermining. And so someone who maybe put themselves into debt, someone who maybe joined when they shouldn't have, before they were ready, somebody could, if they could have waited 2 or 3 months until they were ready and joined through the back door, then that would have been better for them. They wouldn't have had to put themselves in a bad position. They wouldn't have had to stretch. They wouldn't have had to pay for 2 or 3 months of a membership that they weren't yet in a position to actually make any use of. But you forced them into it. When actually, if they just were more clued into your marketing strategy, they could have waited till the time was right. I don't like that. Call me old-fashioned, call me idealist. I just don't like it. It might be the Britishness in me where I'm just averse to that kind of sneaky, sleazy, snake oil, shocking, almost swore, marketing strategy. I just don't like it. It reminds me of the dark days of the internet marketing world. And the problem is, some of the proponents of this strategy are still in those dark ages of the internet marketing world, and quite a lot of people who are in the online business space, they weren't around for those dark days in the way that I was. And so I'm just more attuned to it, more sensitive to it. I hate it. Don't go back on your word. If you're going to be closed door, commit to being closed door. Just commit to it. Don't try and have the best of both worlds. Don't do any marketing that you wouldn't want people to find out about. Don't market to anyone in a way you wouldn't want somebody else to market to your own mother, to your grandmother. Remember, you're dealing with people here. If you use something as volatile as scarcity within your marketing, you need to do so respectfully. You need to do so ethically, morally. I've just invented a whole new word. Morally, both morally and ethically. Don't try and have the best of both worlds. I get the temptation, and I get how we can overlook the actual human element of all this, because when you're just looking at numbers on an email list and names on a list, you don't see the people there. But there are people there. You need to make sure that you respect that. If you're going to be closed door, commit to being closed door. Have the confidence in that model. And if you don't have the confidence in the model, why are you using the model at all? And then finally, I would say one of the big mistakes people make with the closed door model is thinking that it is the absolute best model. It's the one size fits all. It's the way of doing memberships that, anyone who's not closed door just doesn't get it. They don't understand. And that's just nonsense. I hate anything that claims to be one size fits all. I hate anything that claims to be the best way of doing this, the best strategy, the best tactic, because it just doesn't work like that. And if it did, everyone would be doing it. If it did, it would be easy. When it was first being touted as this game-changing strategy, the closed-door membership model was basically a tactic that worked fairly well for a few people who were already high-profile and had huge audiences, huge ad budget, and a massive network of influencers that they could tap into as affiliates. Some of the biggest success stories and examples of the closed-door model fit that description. They're people who would have done well regardless of whether it was open or closed. Or they're people who had the right pieces of the puzzle for a big promotion. Affiliates who have huge audiences and big ad budgets to back them up. The everyday membership owner does not have those things. Now, the idea that closing your doors was the absolute best strategy for achieving membership success, that idea was a marketing ploy. It was a marketing ploy invented to sell an expensive course that taught this strategy. Every internet marketer has their own version of these magic beans, this secret sauce, a gimmick that they need to hang their hat on. Because if they don't have that, their material is just ordinary, at best. So this idea that to be successful in the world of online memberships, you had to close your doors, that is what that was. Now, in truth, some people saw success with this model, but there were a lot more that didn't, or who only saw success when they changed their strategy from being closed to open, or they had success for the first 2 or 3 promotions, and then it just went off a cliff. But of course, you don't hear about those people because that doesn't support the narrative, right? You're not going to include the failures in your marketing strategy for the course that teaches this strategy. Whenever anyone pushes something as the next big thing, the super secret niche strategy, the weird strategy that is behind success, anytime people are pushing that, you need to question the source of the claim. If the person telling you that strategy X will change your life, are they also the person who wants to charge you $3,000 to learn strategy X? Might they be overhyping? Might they be trying to sell you magic beans? Or are they an affiliate for that person who will be getting, $1,000 in commission for sending you over to the magic bean salesman? Now, of course, there are people successfully running closed-door memberships. I know that because I know people who are successfully running closed-door memberships. We have members inside Membership Academy who are successfully running closed-door memberships. I've advised people to move from open door to closed door. I've advised people to move from closed door to open door. We have members doing great with both models, and that's the point. There are people who have failed with closed door memberships and they needed to switch. There are people who have failed with open door memberships and who needed to switch. We've got all of these people inside our community. I've had people on both sides of the fence as direct clients, as direct students. We teach both open and closed door models in the academy. At no point have we ever taught our students or ever said on this podcast that closed door is bad or the wrong way. Because nothing is absolute. There is no one size fits all. Anybody who's trying to tell you that they have the secret sauce, run a mile. Secret sauce, the one best strategy, my strange marketing tactic, they're all just different ways of saying, hey man, you want to come buy some magic beans? Nothing is absolute. There is no one size fits all. At no point have I ever said closed doors bad And the only way of doing things is being open door. But what I'll always do is rail against the nonsense that other people in this industry have pushed, that closed door is the best model, the only model, the default model, that having your doors open is outdated or whatever. That if you're not doing closed doors, you're dumb, you're behind the curve, you don't understand how to do it, you're not part of the cool club who paid $3,000 to be told, just let people join a few times a year. I told you this was a total soapbox episode, right? I've done numerous podcasts on that point in the past if you want to dive deeper, if you want more tales from the soapbox. I've talked about the closed door model till I'm blue in the face. But if you pay attention, you'll notice that a lot of the big supposed success stories of that model have quietly changed gears over the years. Again, it's funny how you never hear about that from the proponents of this as being the number one strategy. And even the biggest proponent of this closed door strategies for memberships has been pushed to change their tune a little bit too. The data backs this up every time we've done our membership industry report. The simple fact is that the most successful memberships in the world all use an open door strategy. They all do. If closed door works for you, fantastic, stick with it. If open door works for you, fantastic, stick with it. But please, 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 please do not make the mistake of buying into that hype that closing your doors is the one true model for memberships. Or worse, spread and preach that erroneous gospel to others and end up steering them in the wrong direction, because it's not a strategy that works for everyone. It's not a strategy that works in perpetuity forever. It's not the one size fits all. It's not the magic beans. It's just a way of doing things that might work for you better than other ways of doing things, depending on the other pieces of the puzzle in your business. So none of this is railing against having your doors closed. As we've said, we teach both open and closed. We have members who have closed door, who have open door. I've advised people to go in both directions, and I've done podcasts on how to go from open to closed, how to go from closed to open. So whatever you do, don't think that you're listening to the rant of someone who hates the closed door model. I don't think it's the right model for the majority of normal memberships, typical memberships. But I would never push it or push that agenda as set in stone without knowing individual circumstances, because there is no one size fits all. But if you do have a situation where the closed door model is more appealing to you, where it makes more sense in the context of your business, the context of your market, the context of how much time you have to do things, what else you have to promote, the context of what you have at your disposal from a marketing point of view. If you're someone with a big army of influential affiliates and you're amazing at Facebook ads, then you're going to be better equipped to do this closed door than if you didn't have those things. If for whatever reason closed door is your jam, fantastic. Whatever helps you achieve membership success, I'm fully on board with. But do make sure that you're not making the huge mistakes that I've talked about, that you're not getting swept away in the noise and the nonsense that surrounds this business model. And that's where my real problem is. The noise, the nonsense, the glossing over of the realities, because these are the things that lead people to making the mistakes that I've talked about. So hopefully today's episode will save you from some of those, or give you that kick up the butt if you have this model and you're making these mistakes already, because it's not too late to correct things. Oh, I can breathe. I can take a step back off the soapbox. Hopefully my rantings on this have been useful, educational, insightful, or at the very least just entertaining, because who doesn't like listening to a grumpy old Englishman whinge about things? Hopefully it's been useful. If you are a new listener and you've enjoyed today's episode, hit subscribe or follow in the podcast app. Not every episode is a soapbox episode, so don't worry. This isn't just Mike shows up and rants about stuff every single week, but there's always a little bit of a sprinkling of that in as well. If you're a long-term listener, I love and appreciate you. If you enjoyed today's episode, if you've found other episodes of the show useful, I would be so grateful if you can take a minute or so of your time to leave a nice little review in your podcast app, hopefully with a shiny 5 stars to go with it, to let me know you enjoy the show. Let me know if it's been helpful for you in your membership business. If you do, hit me up on social media at Membership Geeks. Let me know that you've left a review so I can thank you personally and tell you just how grateful I am for your continued support and for every single second of time and attention that you gift me with as a listener of the Membership Geeks podcast. That is it from me from a very ranty week. I'm just anticipating some of the kickback, some of the response that I'll get on this, but hey, I'm at an age now where I don't really care because my priority is looking after all of you fantastic people and helping you become more successful in your memberships. And that is what today is all about. And I'll be back again very soon with another installment of the Membership Geeks podcast. So I will see you then. Do you want to boost your member signups and take your membership to the next level? If so, you're not going to want to miss the free webinar that I'm running on Tuesday, the 26th of March. It's called Supercharge Your Membership Sales, and it is entirely free. During the webinar, you will learn how to level up your core membership sales funnel for more traffic, leads, and sales. You'll discover the biggest roadblocks that could be costing you sales right now, and most importantly, how to fix them. And we're going to cover the key tactics that you need to have in place to successfully market and scale your membership. Plus, you get the opportunity to tap into my years of expertise in the membership space and have me help solve your current sales and marketing challenges. So, if you want to take your membership sales to the next level, join me on Tuesday, March 26th at 7 p.m. UK time and go to membershipgeeks.com/webinar. That's membershipgeeks.com/webinar to secure your free seat today.